This is Colin Liao presenting my empirical paper analysis on the subject of green innovation efficiency. Well, to start with, for a little bit of background, as as time goes on and cities become more industrialized and populations become more central, you have bigger cities and bigger urban economies, and with those economies come with negative externalities like pollution, and those negative externalities help to highlight the importance of sustainable development, which is the development that meets the needs of people today without compromising the needs of people in the future. And one of the most significant measures of a region's sustainable development is green innovation. New or improved processes, technologies, systems, and products resulting from avoiding or reducing environmental damage. And this doesn't necessarily mean only like reductions, but also creating beneficial environmental changes. And this article is specifically titled The Impact of Environmental Regulations on Urban Green Innovation Efficiency. The case of Xi'an is a case study based in Xi'an, which is a large city in China, on how different environmental policies affect green innovation efficiency. The goal of the study is to assist policymakers by determining how effective different types of regulation are and increasing green innovation efficiency. The three broad types of regulations are command and control, market-based, and voluntary regulations. Command and control are typically like emission standards and laws, utilization and disposal rates. Market-based ones are regulations that focus on price and cost incentives to encourage polluters to reduce or eliminate those negative externalities. And voluntary regulations are about uh, publicly and consciously affecting the environment, supervising companies and other regulatory agencies, and like the presentation of information about these like companies' measures of pollution and stuff like that that could be kept private. To measure urban green innovation efficiency, shortened to be UGIE, this group used data development analysis, more specifically a combination of the directional distance function, DDF, and a SLACS-based measure, SBM. The addition of the SBM helps to minimize the overestimation of efficiency that normally would occur within a DDF model. To model UGIE as a function of the different policies, they base it off a logarithmic variation of the STIR-PAT, a multivariate model. In the equation below, we have UGIE as the urban green innovation efficiency, and then the CER stands for the command and control environmental regulations, MER being market-based, VER being voluntary, and CV representing control variables. As each category of regulation has a variety of specific implementations, the study has chosen one per category to represent that variable within the equation. For command and control, they chose the amount of environmental investments made by companies in environmental protection. For market-based, they used the pollution discharge fee, and for voluntary, they chose the number of environmental news items relating to environmental pollution. The three control variables chosen for this equation were foreign direct investment, education, and government support. Education was measured in the number of higher education students, like undergrad and postgrad. And then for government support was just how much they supported into science and technologies. The measure of UGIE was broken down into three types of efficiencies and the return to scale. And those efficiencies are comprehensive, purely technological, and scale. Comprehensive efficiency represents the multiplication of technical efficiency, no, sorry, technological efficiency and scale efficiency. And purely technological efficiency reflects the effectiveness of decision making and management, while scale efficiency values are the result of a change of scale. They had a respective means of 0.952, 0.956, and 0.996, with returns to scale remaining constant most years. These high averages indicate that the inputs and outputs of urban green innovation tend to be on or near its production frontier, meaning resources are being used efficiently. A Phillips-Perron and Dickey-Fuller test were also used to determine the stability of the variables used in the regression model of this study, with all of them having a p-value below 0.05, meaning significant at the 5% level. And this shows that all the variables are stable and can be used for empirical analysis. The following equation on top is just the estimated regression written out with the variables and coefficients given by the table shown below. Some interesting things here are actually the very low coefficients on command and control environmental regulation and government support, meaning that they are basically almost no effect in terms of green in urban green innovation efficiency, and that their p-values are also quite high, meaning they're not very significant. But a real standout would be the voluntary environmental regulations with a 0.46 coefficient and a less than 1% p-value, showing that it has the biggest impact on urban green innovation efficiency. And foreign direct investment also has a pretty significant effect as well. And surprisingly, the regional education level has a negative high coefficiency too. And this seems to indicate that probably a culture thing where the educated there don't see this factor of sustainable development to be very important, and they just don't prioritize these types of regulations. A summary of the results from the table before: command and control were negligible, market-based has some positive effects, voluntary has the most positive, foreign direct investment was positively effective, education had a strong negative effect, government support negligible, and all three types of regulations were found to have an inverted U-shaped relationship with UGIE, meaning they are effective initially but lose effectiveness over time. For the conclusion of the article, they found voluntary regulations to be the most significant determinants of urban green innovation, with command and control having no effect. So market-based regulations give companies greater freedom. Market-based regulations were the priority for government policy makers because they give companies greater freedom as well as better incentives to spend resources on ecological reductions compared to command and control. While voluntary regulations have the most impact on UGIE, they are less of a government responsibility as it relies mostly on public participation. Some ending thoughts about this article. Information is extremely important, as we've talked about in class, where all the models require a lot of information and accurate information that is often hard to find, or at least hard to realistically receive without any lies or dishonesty happening. This study seems to show that incentives are much better than strict limits, with the market-based regulations being much more effective than commands, because commands tend to lead to them forcibly reducing to the limit, and then once they're there, they trying to work around the limit and try and get away with whatever they can, while as markets provide like financial incentives to spend more resources and other funds to research better technology in order to become more efficient. And the last thought would be that it seems very important that schools, or at least maybe higher levels of education, promote a sense of urgency towards green innovation and environmental policies in order for them to at least have a non-negative effect on the urban innovation or urban green innovation